it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey, kids, it's already, Tuesday? It's Tuesday, and the 17th of February. I don't know where you are, but it's getting a little warmer around here into the 50s. If you're in Minnesota, you are about halfway through winter. So there you go. Among other, and then also just a living hell of never-ending awfulness caused by the Democrat Farmers and Laborers Party up there. Yeah, I looked out over the glorious Potomac this morning, the smell of raw sewage in the air, and I went, "Wow, what a great place." You know, it's interesting. I moved here 6 months ago, and I got here, and Donald Trump, 2 weeks after I got here, he brought in the National Guard to clean up Washington, D.C., and there's almost no crime in Washington, D.C., and the streets are just golden and no homeless encampments and no heroin needles and all of that, and I said, wow, I expected a welcome, but honestly, Mr. President, I appreciate it, but you didn't have to do that. And then it took, a Democrat to crap all over it. Yeah, the Democrats crapped all over it. Wes Moore, who's busy posing, trying to be a presidential candidate. He's never going to be the president of the United States. He's a dimwit. He's a moron. And he's in charge of Maryland, and Maryland is a terrible state now. No, it's a beautiful state. Don't get me wrong. You get crab cakes. My God, it's glorious. It's beautiful all of the place. But the Democrat Party runs this state into hell. People are leaving this state. The utility prices here are outrageous. I don't live in Maryland, thank God. But the utility prices have gone through the ceiling. They're run by this Democrat Party. They call the legislatures called the Democrat. They call it the Maryland General Asylum because they're nuts. And Wes Moore is over on doing an interview with Norah O'Donnell, getting a kind of a light tongue bath. I'll just say that. She had to spit out some fur every once in a while. And in the meantime, 60 million gallons of sewage is spilled into the Potomac while he's off getting an interview about how he wants to be president. But we'll get to that as the show progresses on the show today. I was reminded today, and I had already actually planned on this. It was kind of it was odd because I was doing show prep, which is I do all the time. It's my life. And I was up in the middle of the night last night, and a piece from Rush Limbaugh popped up. And, I wrote for Rush for many years, wrote and voiced a lot of his comedy, and actually kind of introduced comedy back in 1989. I was a kid right out of college, and he was running like Spatula City by Weird Al. And I said I was writing comedy for a comedy network because I made no money. I was making $18,500 a year doing morning radio in Columbia, Missouri. So I was writing for radio comedy networks. One of the guys I worked with is named Rusty Humphreys, and he worked at WPLJ in New York, and Rush Limbaugh is right down the hall. And I said, do you suppose that Rush Limbaugh would run some of my comedy? And Rusty said, I don't know why you talked to Johnny Donovan and Kit Carson, and that began a 20-year relationship where I wrote comedy for Rush Limbaugh. And we all listened to Rush every day. We heard don't, 30 years you listened to that. You listen to that every day. And I always say on the show that I walk in his footsteps when no one will ever fill his shoes. He came along at the right time in the right place with the right skill set, right life experience when the world needed him. And he was incredible. And I was talking, and you've heard me talk about how the last few years about the exceptionalism of America and how America is for thousands of years, civilizations existed around the world. And they never did anything like we did. Paris and London were around for 1,200 years, and there was still crapping in the streets when the America was founded. And I saw this piece from Rush Limbaugh, and oddly enough, today is the 5th anniversary of his departure from the earth. And I wanted to play this for you to start the show today. because I know many of you miss him. I miss him too. But I wanted you to hear this, because he echoes, well, he said it before I did, but I discovered it on my own, that societies existed for millennia and didn't become exceptional until this.
You ever wonder how it is, and why it became so, that a population at any one time of less than 300 million people created the highest standard of living, progress, economic, political, education, any standard you want to measure, the United States of America has been the greatest population of human beings in the history of the world.
It has.
Civilizations, countries, and populations
no
long
doubt.
before us that were the trademark of their day. I mean, they're the standard bearers of their day. They can't compare to us. And they've been around thousands of years. There's no comparison. The greatest collection of human beings on the face of the earth for good. We feed the world. We relieve the world. We repair the world. We defend the world. We have liberated hundreds of millions of people who have lived in bondage and slavery.
I have said we are the greatest engine of economic and individual freedom in the history of mankind.
What is it about us? We're not born special in terms of our DNA. What is it that sets us apart? And there's one answer.
What's that?
And it's found in the Declaration of Independence. We are all endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights.
Yes.
And they come from the Creator. Among them, but not just, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
That our freedom comes from God, not from a government. Yep. And not from some other man or some other woman. It does not come from a demagogue. No. It does not come from somebody promising to take care of us. Too many people think that without government doing the right things, we can't succeed. And the government, when run by people like running it now, get in the way and make it impossible for ordinary people to do anything extraordinary.
Have you noticed the Democrat Party has done everything it can for the last decade to tear down America, kneel during football games, talk about how we are, the product of slavery, we are a slave state. They have torn down statues. They tried to destroy our history, that part of a Maoist Marxist takeover of America. And in this 250th year of our birth, we need to say, you know what, screw you. Screw you. You got a guy in New York City who just said the opposite of what Rush Limbaugh just said there.
Many of these people have been betrayed by the established order. But in our administration, their needs will be met.
Yeah.
Their hopes and dreams and interests will be reflected transparently in government.
The city already looks like a crap bowl, smells like garbage, trash in the streets, snow not removed. He's reneging on promises after promises. No free buses, no free housing.
They will shape our future. And if for too long these communities have existed as distinct from one another, we will draw this city closer together.
Faculty lounge gobbledygook.
We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism.
And how is that collectivism working for you? Very clearly, it is not. We'll play a little tribute to Mr. Limbaugh. I think you'll enjoy. On the rock,
with talent on loan from God. And have my brain tied behind my back, to be fair.
You were the sunshine of our life, Rush.
Tim Gothman.
That's why we'll miss you oh so much.
You know, I'm the mayor of Realville here.
You cut down liberals like a knife. Rush.
Rush Limbaugh.
Forever you'll be number one.
I am Rush Limbaugh, household name.
America needed a hero.
In all four corners of the world.
And then you came to our rescue.
The Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies.
Competition, you had zero. Wow. How could so much talent be inside of you?
And don't doubt it.
You were the sunshine of our life, Rush. That's why we listened every day.
That's it. It's not much more complicated than that.
You helped us get through all the strife, Rush. your place. Because Rush was the sunshine of our life. Of our life. Of our life.
Meeting and surpassing all audience expectations every day behind this, the Golden EIB microphone.
Isn't it good to hear his voice? It's good to hear his voice. And here we are. It is the 250th year of our birth as a nation. Donald Trump is the president again. We have discovered that our government, our country is overrun with filth and corruption like we never imagined. And fortunately, we have a man in the White House who has exposed it and is going to kick its butt. There you go. I got a lot of stuff to get to on the show today, including I got some thoughts on voter ID that nobody else has. We're going to get to that on the show. The number is 800-922-6680. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
Here's the Rob Carson Show. All right, so the latest attack of the Democrats, the next thing is to deny life in America is great. That's it. They're saying that. Sunny hosted yesterday, Donald Trump is the worst president in history. I hate to tell you this, pudding for brains, the last 4 years was worst president ever. Jimmy Carter right before that. And if you think this is going to be effective by just saying, oh, yeah, America's terrible, it sucks, we're the worst president ever, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. It's going to work about as well as saying that the economy was great when inflation was 10% 1 year when Joe Biden was the president. Because it's going to prove other. Today, did you realize this? They're saying 22% higher thus far on income tax returns this year. All right? So people have already got income tax returns 22% higher than last year because all of the great tenets of the great big beautiful bill are happening. Also, grocery prices down, gas prices down, rent prices down, southern border closed, peace in the world, $18 trillion of new investment coming into the country. All of the jobs being created are private sector jobs. But you've got idiots on CNN saying this.
It's so interesting that you said that because right before we went to break, you asked me what country was I living in. This one that we just went through.
You should be
the country that did
here.
the country that just did what they did. So for you to sit here,
what did the country just do there? Teslin Figaro,
and act like you just didn't say, what country are you talking about? What country, puts people in jail wrong? What country enslaves
what the hell are you talking about?
Folks, which is pretty much the private.
No. There's all sorts of slavery happening all over the world. China, sub-Saharan Africa.
Prison system. What country does this? You can't possibly be a history buff and also say that as well.
You can't possibly have a clue and say what you just said.
Give you how bad it can be. The Romans used to burn to the ground.
You can't never give me how bad it can be. You could never.
Oh, yeah. Look at your iPhone and then get on Amazon and order whatever the hell you want and have it delivered in the afternoon.
Give me how bad it could be.
Get on Uber Eats and just order whatever you want. Have it a half an hour later. Clearly, you have.
On a daily basis, baby. I live it on a daily basis, honey.
They were bad.
Honey, sugar. Yeah.
Live it on a daily basis. You can never tell me how bad it could be. But I would encourage you to actually be the history buff that you claim that you are, and really get some understanding. It's not about me. I'm not going nowhere.
Oh, here you go. Filibuster. This is what happens on CNN. They just filibuster. Yeah, and I've been talking about a couple years ago. I said that 80% of us believe that the country was headed in the wrong direction. 80% of us would come together to save it. And that is segued into what I'm now calling the new 80-20, which is 80% of us still love America's founded, want voter ID, want fair elections. 20% of Democrats don't. And if you don't believe me, this is Chris Cuomo of all people, parroting exactly what I've been saying for a couple years.
How do you keep them from having the nuke? Impeach Trump is the opposite of having a better idea. You're killing your party. And look, I hope it works out for you. I hope you guys splinter off and become, whatever you really are. Because you're not a capitalist.
He's talking about idiots like AOC.
And you're not a Democrat. And, you can say, well, what do you know? I was raised by a real one. Go ahead and criticize Mario Cuomo. What's going to be your biggest insult? That he spawned me and Andrew? Is that going to be the best you have? Because you ain't compared to him.
Nope.
You are killing your party because you are not a real one. Because you're doing what's good for you in a vacuum. With your little social media following, you're no different than a pod bro. And you're killing your party. And Democrats better wake up and realize that you're better than this. Be with the 80, not the 20.
There you go. Okay? What'd I just say? The 80-20. That's your Democrat Party. It's 80-20. You got 20% of bat guano crazy, nutbag, crazy Karens who don't want voter ID, who think that black people are too stupid to get them, who love Luigi Mangione. I could go on and on and on. That's your 20. And the 20 also is in power, and they want to perpetuate stolen elections, government fraud, so they can stay in power and enrich them. They're the 20, guys. 80-20. 80-20. What I've been saying. And I had some thoughts last night. I was thinking about this voter ID thing. And I was saying that you got to have an ID to do everything. You got to get a credit card, apply for a mortgage, buy a house, rent an apartment. Let's see what else. buy a prescription, driving. I can go on and on and on. Get into the DNC convention. So if there are 20 million people who don't have a valid ID, how do they live? How do they live? Well, I got some news for you. Those 20 million people don't exist. They don't exist. If they did, the Democrat Party would be out asking for public money. They would be sending out, ID vans to get people signed up. There would be CNN town halls featuring panels of black people and women saying, we got no ID. But guess what? Everybody has an ID. It's a bunch of crap. Everybody has an ID. Otherwise, there would be a push to get people IDs so they can identify themselves to go through everyday life. But the Democrat Party is making it up, and it just so happens they're willing to insult, they're willing to use racism and sexism as a reason not to get ID, and because of that, they're being really racist and sexist. Duh. Here is Kevin O'Leary. Mr. Wonderful, talking about the stupidity of voter ID and the argument in the USA, which is exclusive to the USA.
Every metric. Every 24 months, we go through this debate over and over again. When every country in the Nordic countries in Europe, France, Switzerland, Canada, Australia, solved this problem decades ago. A, you got to be a citizen to vote. You got to prove it. We all agree at the table on that one. Yeah. Number two, there's such advancement in technology to make sure there's no cheating. We should implement it here and get all this crapola over with. Yeah. It's getting almost boring. Yes. Every 24 months. Oh, the election's rigged. Oh, this guy's doing this guy's doing that. No other country has this narrative.
Kevin,
Nobody.
I agree with you. It is getting incredibly
it's ridiculous.
boring. We talk about this all the time. It's incredibly boring, but it's also not an actual problem. Like when you look at the statistics, voting, illegals voting is not an actual problem in this country.
Oh, she's going to try and say that. Well, here's the deal. You got to prove that you're a citizen to exercise the right of being a citizen, which is to vote. And the only way to do that is with documentation and then identification. And you can lie all you want and say that people are not voting illegally, and you would be wrong. Just because Democrat states have made it illegal not to show an ID, and just because they do not investigate voter fraud in places like California, doesn't mean that it's happening left and right. And Nick Shirley proves that. I got this later in the show. He went out to California to storage units where 10 people are registered to vote and voted. Or empty houses where 20 people are registered to vote and voted. And homes where people who are 126 years old voted. So don't act like this doesn't happen. Simply just plugging your ears and saying, it doesn't happen, we don't need a voter ID. If, in fact, there were 20 million people who did not have voter ID or any kind of ID, they would not be able to survive in our society. And by God, there would be, again, panels on CNN. Democrats would be saying we've got to get people some sort of ID so they can survive. But the truth of the matter is, there's no one who doesn't have an ID who is legal in America, and if they don't have enough to vote, they can get it. That's it. That's all. That's that. Let's take a break and come back. We'll try to get the stream going. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Hello, my name is Brian Delatry, and I started taking Relief Factor just about a year ago. I was having chronic knee pain over time. It just got worse and worse. Just walking downstairs was painful. Well, since I've taken Relief Factor, the results have been just amazing. I actually walk 4 miles a day, 5 to 6 days a week. No pain at all going downstairs. Very active playing golf, and it's been really just unbelievable in the change I've had in the pain in my knee. Hope that someone who's experienced the same type of pain gives Relief Factor a try. And I guarantee if you get the results that I have, you'll be very happy. I'm going to continue using the product because I am now pain-free.
Don't wait. If you're dealing with daily pain, launch your 3-week quick start and see what Relief Factor can do for you. Go to ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? Hey guys, it's Carson for Shopify. You know, for years I have had a swag line of T-shirts with catchy phrases and whatnot, and it's just been lying there. Well, I've decided to go with Shopify and actually make money with my own business. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap, from household names to first-time business owners just getting started. Choose from hundreds of beautiful templates you can customize to match your brand instead of just having a lousy website that nobody notices like I have been doing for years. Set up fast with Shopify's built-in AI tools that write product descriptions and headlines, create email and social campaigns that reach customers wherever they scroll. In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Newsmax. Go to shopify.com/Newsmax. Make building a successful business your 2026 New Year's resolution.
About 83% of the American people, including majority Democrats, support voter ID laws.
Yeah, the voter ID laws that, first, each state can have its own voter ID laws, and some do and some don't. But secondly, what they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0.
Yes, on this, the day that Jesse Jackson passes away, the Democrat Party says that black people are too stupid to get an ID to vote. Yeah, that's what it is. That's your Democrat Party. I wrote a piece on Substack about the ridiculous argument that people of color can't get an ID for whatever reason. And we've heard a number of reasons. Here's some Karens, some white liberal Karens, by the way, which are enemies of the black people, talking about why black people can't get an ID to vote.
I think that's harder for black people to go online.
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or they're not informed.
I also think there's a repression of black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you look at swing states like Florida,
wow,
that's a huge population of the.
And there's your Democrat Party right there. Wow, just wow. I mean, honestly, and I was thinking about this last night, and I said they say 20 million people don't have an ID, don't have a way to identify themselves. And I said, well, if that's the case, then they can't live. So if you're really worried about people not being able to live, Democrats would be saying we've got to get these people some ID so they can buy groceries, or they can go to the doctor, or they can register, whatever, okay? But they're not doing that. You know why? Because those 20 million people don't exist. You know who doesn't have a documentation of their citizenship? People who are here illegally. And guess who Democrats want to vote without being discovered? People who are here illegally. Oh my God, it's so very simple. But the problem is Democrats are willing to throw anyone under the bus. Think the least of anyone, particularly now women. Women can't get an ID to vote because they got married to men, and now they can't change their names. So Democrats really are not only saying that black people are too stupid or they're criminals and they can't vote, they're saying that women can't live without a man in their life.
Congressman, of course, the president's allies say that this is all about the SAVE Act, which would require voter ID, although a fairly stringent form of it.
Just ID.
Voter ID is supported by the majority of
83%,
Americans.
yeah.
But there are Democrats on the Hill. You voted against this. Why not support voter ID?
Here we go.
Well, look, first of all, this is not a problem that people are identifying or recognizing in the states. The states and local governments are perfectly capable of identifying when there are problems.
Yeah, but you see, in Democrat states, they always cheat, you see.
This is obviously being cooked up by Donald Trump to justify his persistent...
All of it is just, honestly, such bullcrap. I found this grilling by Adam Carolla of Gavin Newsom, and Democrats always think the least of certain groups. I've said for years, when it comes to inner city black people, they promise the sun, moon, and the stars. They're going to give them everything in the world, and then when Election Day happens the next day, they get up and leave some money on the dresser. I've been saying this for 6 years, and now they're not leaving money on the dresser anymore. That's it. They're just out. By the way, we are streaming on X right now, on Newsmax X, if you want to see my face. We have some issues with Rumble. We have some issues with YouTube. Not sure about Facebook, but if you go to Newsmax X account right now, you can see my glorious face wearing a nice, it looks black, but it's a blue shirt. But you can see it there. But anyway, they're willing to throw anyone under the bus. When, for instance, Jussie Smollett lied about a racial attack, they were willing to say that America's a racist country and paint all of us as racists, particularly, white guys like me, which now, AOC says that whiteness is a construct, doesn't really exist. Wow, we went through a whole lot of bull crap over that, didn't we? But here is Adam Carolla when asking Gavin Newsom about getting a bank account. And it's the same people. They're willing to doubt their intelligence and their ability. Again, this is 2026, all right? I'm not sure when this soundbite's from, but it is 2026. Jesse Jackson passed away last night. And in 2026, Democrats think people of color are either too dumb to vote or are incapable of being able to vote. Or I should say, to get an ID to vote. That's your Democrat Party. Welcome to 1956 again.
It's half of African Americans in the state of California, roughly half of Latino families have no access to a checking account.
Okay, so here you're saying that half of black people and Hispanics in California have no access to a checking account. And here's where Adam Carolla has his rear end for lunch.
ATM, things we take for granted. They don't have a check.
What's wrong with them?
And well, because they don't have the resources to sock those things away.
Why do we have them?
A lot of different reasons, but roughly half those families don't.
Why do Armenians have them?
But where they end up is in check cashing places.
But I want to know why those groups. Why those two groups don't have access?
Well, a lot of. Just happens to be that we can talk about.
Flawed?
No, they're hardly flawed, but they're struggling.
Genetically
Folks are making
flawed.
their work. Hardly, not absolutely.
But okay, do Asians have this problem?
I mean, a lot of communities have. A lot of whites have these problems.
Oh, so that's not just black and Hispanic.
No, but
why did you bring up black and Hispanic?
Because the magnitude is ominous.
But why so many of them?
It just happens to be the magnitude.
That's the way God planned it?
Not at all.
Well, what happened to them?
There are a lot of issues.
That's fantastic. So he opens with the idiotic premise that half of black people and Hispanic people in California have no access to a checking account or an ATM card. What's a SNAP benefit card? Is that wow? I mean, so amazing. And I played this. End Wokeness did some man on the street kind of stuff, and they asked white people about voter IDs and people of color.
An opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah,
usually pretty racist and they're bad. I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for...
Yeah, there you go. And then the End Wokeness decided to go out and ask people of color who they never, the left never hangs out with, these cul-de-sac dwelling insane Karens. They never leave their Chardonnay swilling, mahjong parties to affiliate themselves with black people. But they went out and decided to ask some people of color if they had any problem getting an ID, and they thought it was the dumbest question ever.
Do you have ID normally? Carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
What?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID.
It's an insult.
Why would they think we don't have ID?
Yeah.
That's a lie. Why would
I
they
know.
say that?
I know.
You have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so
I know.
we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Really?
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy camera?
I know, right? That's the only thing
Yeah, like, is this some sort of a candid camera? Is this a joke? You can't seriously be asking. It's the most racist thing you could possibly imagine. One of the worst things you could ever imagine of someone is that because of their skin color, they can't do what everybody does, even though they do. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Nothing brings out the inner Klansman of a white liberal faster than a black person who refuses to obey. Every time I log into social media, I'm seeing a new video from white liberals, especially white liberal women,
Karens,
questioning the purity and validity of black people, calling them traitors and sellouts, even the N-word, because they are no longer subscribing to the orthodoxy of the political left. And I think that's interesting to see that they have become so confident and so overt in their anti-black racism, which has always presented itself as a perceived ownership over black people. Now, there are a lot of us who have been saying this for the longest amount of time, even while voting Democrat, that the way that white liberals engage with black people, it's usually through a lens of dictatorship, telling you what you're supposed to believe, what your politics are supposed to be.
And by the way, stepping in and saying, I've got this. All right. So, after, some sort of a racial incident happens, George Floyd, here's what we're going to do. We are going to get rid of the police. They're like, no, we don't want to get rid of the police. Okay, then we want to get rid of Mrs. Butterworth, and we want to get rid of Uncle Ben. Hold on a second. What are you talking about here? No, I've got this. I have got this. We're going to get rid of the Indian on the Land O'Lakes butter package. What does this have to do with anything? Oh, I've got this. I'm a white liberal Karen.
How dangerous your men and your families are. And at the end of the day, when you look at most of these social justice movements, because I don't know why they're called social justice now, and it's no longer civil rights, right?
No.
But if you look behind most of these movements, they tend to be funded and supported by white liberals.
And remember what Malcolm X said about the white liberal. He said it in the 60s, except for it's gotten much worse. It's gotten much more worse and odious. Here is Malcolm X on the white liberal. Check this out.
The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way.
How's that?
The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon.
For instance, to make sure that nobody has a voter ID by saying that black people are too dumb to get an ID.
In this political football game
I know.
that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives, the American Negro is nothing but a political football. And the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism, false promises of integration and civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation of the Negro civil rights leader.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Like, Al Sharpton, and others who will remain nameless today. Honestly, it is ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous. The tyranny of low expectations. But they aren't even low expectations. Now they're just projections. That's why the Democrat Party is willing to use certain groups so that they can make sure that illegals vote by saying bad things about certain individuals, whether they be people of color, whether they be women. Women can't vote now because they might have changed their name when they got married. It's utterly ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous and insulting on everything, on every level. It's just insane. All right. I think I've made my point on that. How about you kids? I think I've made my point on that. Did you hear about this remnants of sewage, including toilet paper, left behind after wastewater pipe collapse? This happened in where I live right now, actually, Washington, D.C., and Maryland. There was a massive sewage spill, and Wes Moore is in charge of the state of Maryland, and for some reason, he's asleep at the wheel. Kind of like, Gavin Newsom when it came to the fires in California. There was that. It's here's one of the here's the story happening in the Washington D.C. area. When you hear the amount of SH that has been released into this river, you're gonna You might just SH.
If you look at the river, it's pretty clear and blue.
Wow.
But this stretch right here is brown and gray, and you can see little shreds of toilet paper.
Oh, boy.
It reeks of sewage. So I've been a riverkeeper now for 25 years, and I've dealt with what I thought were pretty big sewage spills of 15, 20 million gallons, but this is dumping about 60 million gallons a day for the last 5 days into the Potomac River, and if you do the math, we're well over
60 million gallons of poo.
Over 200 million gallons of raw sewage that's dumped into the river.
200 million gallons? What the what?
This may be one of the largest sewage spills that we've ever seen in the United States, and nobody's really reporting about it.
200 million gallons. One of those large municipal water towers you see with your city's name on them, or maybe your high school name. Those contain 1 million gallons.
I've never seen it this low. Even in the summer. So you can just see the concentration of sewage is really high.
You can see the bits of excrement.
Oh, boy.
And whether that's feces or like it's toilet paper, it's kind of what's floating around.
Wow.
I've seen people walking their dogs down here. We've got reports of fish kills downriver.
Have you heard a damn thing about this? Have you heard a thing about this on the national news? Have you heard anything? No, you haven't. And then Wes Moore, the poser, loser governor of the state of Maryland, goes on with Norah O'Donnell to do a fluffy interview about how he wants to be the president, even though, Maryland is up S Creek. We'll take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold. More than any other commodity on earth, gold thrives during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all of the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered IRA or retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text my name, Rob, to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. Birch Gold has an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, including this guy right here. Let Birch Gold help you diversify with gold so you too can have peace of mind regardless of uncertainty. Text Rob to 989898. Again, text my name, Rob, to 989898 for Birch Gold.
I'm Kim Klasick. I want to introduce you to my friend and a great patriot, Rod Whitstadt. Rod is a United States Naval officer and has been practicing law in Maryland for 33 years.
Hey, thanks, Kim. It's attorney Rod Whitstadt. I've been advertising with you for some time now, but I want your listeners to know that I can help them with many different legal matters. I advertise here because I want to help your listeners with affordable legal representation. Again, when you call me, you get me.
Call 410-525-WILL. That's 410-525-WILL today to schedule a free consultation.
Hey, Baltimore, how does guaranteed income that you cannot outlive sound to you? Great, right? Then call Adam Wasser.
Sorry, I had to step out, Brian.
Harford.
It was an emergency.
He's been helping people get the most out of their
I'm back. Sorry about
for
that.
over 15 years. Adam will grow your money without risk.
Sorry, rumbly brewers and whatnot. I had to run out real quick. I apologize.
You can also enjoy an up to 20%.
But apparently we are back.
We
are back.
And you heard that right.
Although I don't see us on YouTube, I see us on Twitter
Go to HarvardLifeGroup.com.
and all of that. Here we go.
Have about 3.5 here.
All right, Brian, thank you. So it's kind of interesting. We've had 300 million gallons of sewage spilled into the Potomac River, and the governor of Maryland is out. He's gallivanting around. That was a word my dad used to use. Gallivanting around, doing appearances on television because, he wants to be the president of the United States someday. I don't think he will. Wes Moore, he's also lied a lot about his military service and his what was his grandpappy or something escaping the Klan. That was all bullcrap. Typical Democrat. Here he is getting in the hot seat, I guess, with Norah O'Donnell while the feces hit the fan in Maryland and D.C.
Well, let me ask you, because you are a rising star in the Democratic Party, and if
you know what rises sometimes in the water,
run for president, there's going to be a lot of questions about your biography and your resume, and that has already started.
Only with Democrats could you fail through a governorship and still run for president without any issues.
Conservative outlet, the Washington Free Beacon, has published a number of stories. And I want to give you an opportunity to respond to some of those claims. First, you were selected a Rhodes Scholar and you attended Oxford University. That's a big deal.
More like a Rhode Apple Scholar.
Congratulations. But Oxford says it does not have a copy of your thesis. Did you submit it? Any idea why it's missing?
I think Oxford has said that I have completed my degree. There is no denying that. And that I received a master's degree at Oxford University.
But he doesn't have a thesis and all of that stuff. So I don't think you can really depend. Donald Trump is calling him out. And Wes Moore is blaming Donald Trump. Like Donald Trump doesn't have enough crap on his plate, as it were. Sorry, working on getting the Ayatollah out in Iran and getting Maduro out of Argentina or Venezuela and then Cuba's going to fall here. Peace deal over there in Gaza with Israel. So a little bit busy there, Wes. Why don't you clean up your own S?
Sewage keeps on spilling. Wes Moore is a villain. Anger at the governor's begun to soar. It is such a downer. Potomac is much browner. Blame, blame, blame all the poop on Wes Moore. Just like Gavin Newsom, they are quite a twosome. I have to step in like I've done before. Wes couldn't get a bridge built. He should be filled with guilt. Maryland is furious with that clown Wes Moore. 300 million gallons of sewage has been spilled.
300.
While the local government just drags their feet.
Yep.
Drags their feet. Delay is never ending.
Do.
FEMA I'll be sending.
Yeah.
You know you can't rely on Wes anymore.
Do you notice that? Gavin Newsom goes to Davos. There's 12 houses that have been built since the 12,000 burned down in the Palisades. You got massive fraud to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars. Do you notice a familiar pattern here? Do you notice that? I have a funny feeling there's going to be a lot of volunteer corn growing on the shores of the Potomac the next year or so. Could be a real cash crop downstream, if you know what I mean. We'll take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. We had some streaming issues earlier. Like Joe Biden in the middle of the night, he gets up, he's got to go, and he'll just stand there, and it doesn't work. And I was kind of how it was right now with the last hour of the show. Just standing there, it wasn't working. I was getting frustrated in the whole deal. But we're back. We are back. We're streaming. We're on radio stations around the country. We've got a million things to talk about this hour, next hour. This hour, we've got a guy we just had on recently, Morgan Murphy, U.S. Navy captain, national security expert, former Trump White House official. He's always good. And then, of course, Tony Shaver, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaver, talk about Iran and other things. The Iranians are being belligerent. Oh, here we go. Brian Kilmeade actually posted this. Mohammad Reza Nagdi says the United States is finished. It is incapable of doing a damn thing, even if it deploys 12 aircraft carriers. I can do that now because it's not racist or anything. There you go. Yeah, just keep screwing with us. FAFO, baby. That's what I got to say, FAFO. I can make fun of them because they're despotic. You see, I can make fun of their language because they're despotic, and they murdered a whole bunch of their own people, by the way, recently, and I'm just hoping, and it looks like they're doing it. This is their arrogance, and they're messing around with a guy who, I don't know if you know this, gave them a rectal exam with regard to their Iran nuclear programs. So I'm hoping, just give the Gerald R. Ford a little nudge. Go, guys, get them. And let's see freedom come to the people of Iran. How about that? I think that would be pretty cool. 100%. Let's see. So we had this Munich conference, and we're the only country in the world where governors of different states in our country or idiots who are running for office and want to be the president badmouth our country in other countries. Gavin Newsom even called our military like the SS in Munich. I know. They're traitorous, treacherous, awful human beings. That's what they did. And they also are idiots. I don't know if you heard this, but yesterday, AOC, honestly, she's been a bartender. All right? Nothing against bartenders, but there are smarter bartenders than this woman. All right? There's a reason why she was a bartender. Because that was all she could do. Not saying that you can't be, whatever. But I have a funny feeling when she was a bartender, the only thing she could do as far as making drinks were the ones that it spelled out. All right? If you asked her, I want a Harvey Wallbanger, she would probably offer you something you didn't want. But if you said rum and Coke, she'd go, oh, okay, I think that means some rum and some Coke. Or if you acted like a Jack and Diet, she'd go, Jack and Diet? I don't need a diet. And you'd say, no, AOC, I need a Jack and Diet Coke. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll have Jack and Diet. And then she got into Congress because there are a bunch of idiots in the Bronx. But anyway, here she is on the world stage, utterly unprepared. Like, I was in Model United Nations 1 year in high school, and it was so boring I couldn't stand it. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. This woman couldn't place in a regional United Nations meet in middle school, all right? And yet she's on the world stage and looks like a moron.
I'll start last to first. I think this is a moment where we are seeing our presidential administration tear apart the transatlantic partnership.
No, not at all. He's strengthening it. He's just giving them what first, so they have to carry their weight with NATO and stuff.
Rip up every democratic norm.
No, not exactly. No. He's reinforcing them all of that. Here she is with another word salad at the Munich conference. Again, she's a girl child.
I think what we identify is that in a rules-based order.
Okay, this is going to be pure academic gobbledygook. She's going to say nothing. She's going to expend a lot of syllables, which is pretty remarkable because most of her words are 2 syllables or less. She's going to spend a lot of syllables saying nothing.
What we identify is that in a rules-based order, hypocrisy.
Well, okay. If you're going to have order, you need to have rules. So all order is rules-based.
Is vulnerability. And so I think what we are seeking is a return to a rules-based order that eliminates the hypocrisies around when too often in the West we look the other way for inconvenient populations to act out these paradoxes.
Ta-da! She didn't say anything. I could sit here and go, blah, 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 blah. And it would make more sense. At least babies would understand me. Babies would be like, oh, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. But she's just a moron. Here is Scott Jennings, An Island of the Sea of Insanity on CNN. Yesterday, they had like Fawny Willis on. I swear to you, I don't know how this guy doesn't either drink or, want to end his life. But here he is yesterday talking about the children versus the adults in the room, the Democrat Party versus the Trump administration in Munich.
Party. Look, this Munich Security Conference put on full blast the fact that we've only got one adult political party in the United States now, and it's the Republican Party. Marco Rubio gave the speech of a lifetime over there. He laid out a clear foreign policy vision that defends Western values and Western civilization.
Yes, but was it a paradox of the Order of the Phoenix or something?
And the brightest Democrat over there, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, crapped the bed, okay? She wants to be president. She wants to run. And she's one of the most popular Democrats.
I know.
And gave one of the most embarrassing performances you could possibly do. Gretchen Whitmer, one of the governors that Bakari is touting, said she knows even less about foreign policy than AOC, and Gavin Newsom has repeatedly embarrassed himself every time he's gone to one of these international conferences, whether it was Davos a few weeks ago or Munich. He can't even rebuild a single house in the Palisades in Los Angeles.
Yeah, the Democrat Party, they don't even have a bench. There's no deep bench. They don't have a friggin' bench. They don't have any players. They don't have anybody on the field. It's just the worst of the worst. Here's Donald Trump on Air Force One talking about AOC and the Idiots. That should be the name of their band, AOC and the Idiots, like Josie and the Pussycats in Munich.
By the way, I watched AOC answering questions in Munich. This was not a good look for the United States. I watched Gavin Newsom answering questions in Munich, and this was a bad look for our country. These two people are incompetent. And at least Hillary's competent. She's just Trump deranged.
Yeah.
She was so deranged. She is an angry woman.
She was out of her nut. Here is Hillary Clinton. Apparently, she has no power to kill anybody anymore. There's this Czech foreign minister, Peter Machinka, and he called her out for her Trump derangement syndrome. And if looks could kill, he would be dead.
Well, first, I think you really don't like him.
That is absolutely true. But I really, not only do I not like
I don't want to wind up in a cart rolled up in a rug in a park.
him, I don't like him because of what he's doing to the United States and the world.
You mean like making us strong and bringing back, world peace and manufacturing to America and closing the southern border?
And I think you should take a hard look at it if you think that there is something good that will come out of it.
What I think Trump is doing in America, I think it is reaction for something for some policies that really went too far.
Yeah, like what?
Too far from the regular people.
Like what?
Too far from reality. So we saw the cancel culture. We saw the woke revolution. I don't agree with the gender revolution, the climate alarmism.
All that stupid crap that you guys pulled, Hillary. And even yesterday, she said that they went too far with the open border. But, closing it with cruelty, you did it on purpose. You did it on purpose. My Lord, it is remarkable. Here's Donald Trump talking about, he was on Air Force One. He's a world leader, and he's getting things done, unlike the Democrat Party. Talking about Hillary in Munich.
So Hillary Clinton said in an interview today that she and her husband are getting pulled into the Epstein matter to divert attention from you and that your administration has something to hide. What's your response to that?
I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated. I have nothing.
Oh, you've been talking about how Bill and Hillary have been sucked into the Epstein file because they're trying to draw Donald Trump into the Epstein files, even though there's no evidence he had anything. But here he's talking about that.
To do with Jeffrey Epstein. They went in hoping that they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author, a sleazebag, by the way. And I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in.
Yeah,
and that's their problem. I don't know. They're going to have to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich.
Yeah, and by the way, it was Eric Swalwell. He got called out on CNN because Donald Trump's been exonerated with regard to the Epstein files, and he decided to say that no, it's all about Donald Trump.
And also, by the way, the name that is listed the most in these files and talked about the most is Donald Trump. And of all the people that Jeffrey Epstein talked to in the world, and it looks like this guy got around, and there are millions of files, and Donald Trump's name is mentioned many, many times.
Yeah, well, but he's been exonerated, you see. And here is this jackweed who banged a Chinese spy for a while before the Chinese Communist Party ordered her out of the country. They call that ordering Chinese takeout. And she was taken out of the country. Her name was Fang Fang or Bang Bang or whatever. But here is Eric Swalwell being called out.
Justice, but we're not going away.
And certainly Trump's name has been in there quite a lot, and he has not been accused of any wrongdoing, but certainly it raises questions of...
Yeah, there you go. He's accused of no wrongdoing whatsoever. Here's ABC admitting that.
This morning, a new document coming to light claims in the mid-2000s, President Trump called police about Jeffrey Epstein. Among the 3 million Epstein files released by the Department of Justice last month is a 4-page FBI report.
I don't think Bill Clinton ever called the police on Jeff Epstein.
On an interview the Bureau conducted in 2019 with a man believed to be former Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Ryder. Ryder and his detectives began investigating Epstein for human trafficking in 2004.
And I'll remind you again that if there was anything on Donald Trump in the Epstein files that was worth anything, they would have brought it out when Joe Biden was the president. There you go. And now that he's the president, they're releasing the files. They're trying to cover up their own misgivings, their own names in there, and they're hoping that the media will carry the narrative, oh yeah, Donald Trump is in there. But again, Donald Trump's been exonerated, you see. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Well, I'm gonna pay a visit. I'm headed to the Everglades. Gonna see a brand new prison for folks arrested in ICE raids. I hear it's already getting all kinds of accolades. Alligator Alcatraz, it's where illegals will be kept. We're cracking down, unlike Biden, who was totally inept. It is something that the liberals in Florida cannot accept. California Alcatraz, I want to open that one too. Just imagine the hard time that real criminals will do. Alligator Alcatraz, I'm gonna take a tour of you.
Who's ruined his state. Now he wants our children to self-mutilate. His policies are disgusting and lewd. And now he says schools have to include tampons in the boys' room. Tampons in the boys' room. Tim Walz and Kamala, a couple of fools. And everybody knows that liberals want to ruin schools. Tim allowed his cities to be burned by BLM. Criminals, illegals, they can count on Tim. His uniform, Tim was disgraced. He really crossed the line the moment that he placed tampons in the boys' room. buzz in the boys' room. Tim Walz is a comic, Kamala is too, and everyone should know the damage that these two could do. I won't mask, don't ask me. I won't mask, don't ask me. I won't mask aboard a plane. And I won't wear one in a car or a train. Mandate, not needed. Freedoms, we've ceded. And now Joe, he wants it back. A new mask mandate is his latest attack. Joe wants you to mask when you are flying. The rationale for this nobody's buying. Claiming it's essential, simply lying. Yeah, it's appalling. It's like Joe Stalin. And that's why I won't mask. Can't make me to jail. You can't take me. I won't mask for you again. The flight attendants, they can casually ask. But when I'm flying on a plane, I won't mask.
Dig it.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
There you go. And we got one. And the Democrat Party's doing a tailspin into hell, saying that the economy's terrible. He's the worst president ever, even though every metric of quality of life has gone up since he became the president after 4 years of crap sandwich without the bread. That was Joe Biden. There you go. Price of gold today, $4,800. That's great for you. I've got a little visit with Birch Gold tonight because, we transferred that 401k that was doing nothing. And tonight I'm choosing from the menu of metal. They're saying, where do you want to put, which metal do you want? And I told them, I want gold and then a little bit of Iron Maiden and Led Zeppelin. And they said, well, you can't invest with Iron Maiden and Led Zeppelin. I mean, they're great metal. They're heavy metal, don't get me wrong. But gold is where you want your money to be. So there you go. So $4,800 for gold, down from $5,600 a couple weeks ago. Gold is tempting you. It's Siren Song. It's saying, buy me. Your 401k is underperforming. Right now's a great time. And all you got to do is text my name, Rob, to 9898 for Birch Gold. A lot of uncertainty in the world. A lot of things happening. We don't know what the hell's going to happen in Iran and whatnot. A lot of, global banks are buying up gold. Now that gold is a little bit cheaper, you might want to get a move on here. Birch Gold is an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. Tens of thousands of happy customers, including this guy right here. And if they ever get Iron Maiden or Led Zeppelin on board, I'll invest in them. I will. But right now I'm going with gold. I said 100% gold, baby. 100% gold. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 for Birch Gold for a free info kit. No obligación, only información. There you go. You guys ready to do the crazy liberal cat lady of the day? Oh, I got two good ones today. Here's this first one. I don't think she likes guys, by the way. Pretty sure doesn't like guys. In fact, both of them I don't think like men. Yeah. Anyway, here's the first one. She says that we don't need men to reproduce, only women. Yeah, think about this, ladies. This is your Democrat Party.
All right, I'm back again to hit you with some knowledge about why men
I'm going to hit you with some knowledge.
Are so terrified right now. Yep. Studies have been conducted.
Men are terrified.
That women can make babies with other women without men. Yes, you heard that right. We do not need anything from a man to create a baby.
Well, there is that semen thing. So, there's that.
The result? we will only have women children. So now let's talk about evolution.
Oh my God, can you imagine a planet of just women? Not an insult to women, just liberal women.
Women have had to survive in the society we live in today because of the threats of violence against us.
Really? Who built the house you live in, and who built the car you drive, and who built the skyscrapers and the buildings in your town, and who pilots the fishing boats, and who drives the trucks?
So as we evolve, we become more consciously
I don't think you've evolved.
aware what is actually happening to us in order to survive.
Sure.
And this deep-rooted consciousness that is happening with women all over the world, and I mean all over the world,
all over the
is
world.
absolutely terrifying to the male species.
Ooh, I'm shivering.
They have used power and control in order to shut us up and
No. We trust me. We know we can't shut you up.
put us in a corner. But what they don't understand is that we are too conscious. We have become too conscious, and you can't take consciousness away from a human. Now, in order for the male species to survive...
Oh my God, she makes AOC look smart.
They must evolve too.
Yeah.
And this is absolutely terrifying to them because they've lived in the comforts of their safety for so long. And as we bring consciousness to the
I know
males,
it's more comfortable. Nothing more comfortable than being a cop, and nothing more comfortable being a state trooper or being a high-rise welder or a fisherman. That's comfort right there, people.
Species, they now understand that women
working farm fields, driving tractors, that's comfort.
Actually hold all of the power.
Wow, I mean, honestly, good luck with that, because we feed your ass. So interesting. She says that women, that we can live without women or without men because women can populate the earth without men. Where have we heard that before?
Breeding in Jurassic Park. And how do you know they can't breed? Well, because all the animals in Jurassic Park are female. We've engineered them that way.
It would do wonders for the popularity of softball and the LPGA, WNBA.
But again, how do you know they're all female? Or does somebody go out in the park and pull up the dinosaur skirts?
We control their chromosomes. It's really not that difficult. All vertebrate embryos are inherently female anyway. They just require an extra hormone given at the right developmental stage to make...
Hormone is not what you think, Hunter.
...the male. We simply deny them that.
John, the kind of control you're attempting is... it's not possible. Listen, if there's one thing the history of evolution has taught us, it's that life will not be contained. Life breaks free, expands to new territories, and
But they say that that we don't need men. The women don't need the men. I'll save the other cat lady for the other side of the break. Here's Jim Carson.
Well, they have a lot of cats, and they're all Democrats. We call them Karen.
We don't need men except to open jars and kill spiders.
They have a whiny voice. They are all pro-choice and mostly barren.
Can somebody change my tire?
They're cat ladies. Whoa, whoa, whoa. They're cat ladies. Talking about liberal ladies who have clearly lost their minds.
You know, I have a funny feeling that there are a lot of women in the world who kind of like men for a number of reasons. One of the things is they don't like girl parts. They don't associate them with sex. They kind of like the guy parts, and the other things that come with a guy too, because there's some pretty cool stuff that comes with guys. We have tools and stuff, and we're good dads. There's that. So just a few things you might want to keep in mind as you go forward in your whatever fantasy world you live in. My God, people, I hope we wake from this malaise. Coming up, Morgan Murphy, national security expert, U.S. Navy captain, and Trump White House official on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson for Shopify. You know, for years I have had a swag line of T-shirts with catchy phrases and whatnot, and it's just been lying there. Well, I've decided to go with Shopify and actually make money with my own business. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap, from household names to first-time business owners just getting started. Choose from hundreds of beautiful templates you can customize to match your brand instead of just having a lousy website that nobody notices like I have been doing for years. Set up fast with Shopify's built-in AI tools that write product descriptions and headlines, create email and social campaigns that reach customers wherever they scroll. In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Newsmax. Go to shopify.com/Newsmax. Make building a successful business your 2026 New Year's resolution.
They're all Democrats, we call them Karen. They have a whiny voice. They are all pro-choice and mostly barren. They're cat ladies. Whoa, 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 they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who have clearly lost their minds. These Karens don't like ice. They often pay a price, mistakes they're making. Karenism is their curse. Could go to jail or worse for their law breaking. They're cat ladies. Don't have a child, they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who are out of their minds.
Hello, my name is Brian Delatry, and I started taking Relief Factor just about a year ago. I was having chronic knee pain over time. It just got worse and worse. Just walking downstairs was painful. Well, since I've taken Relief Factor, the results have been just amazing. I actually walk 4 miles a day, 5 to 6 days a week. No pain at all going downstairs. Very active playing golf, and it's been really just unbelievable in the change I've had in the pain in my knee. Hope that someone who's experienced the same type of pain gives Relief Factor a try. And I guarantee if you get the results that I have, you'll be very happy. I'm going to continue using the product because I am now pain-free.
Don't wait. If you're dealing with daily pain, launch your 3-week quick start and see what Relief Factor can do for you. Go to ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain?
With the actions he's taken, Jacob Fry is making Minneapolis a clown town. Ice fries are bows and while Tim Walz is dozing, city has become a clown town. Ilhan Omar's hiding fraud, Keith Ellison's obstructing a war on law enforcement. Jacob Fry's conducting. Tampon Tim is so incompetent. Most Minnesotans want no more of him. It's a clown town, Minneapolis, clown town. It's far from fabulous, clown town. Once great cities become clown town, clown town.
Before we go to our guest, Morgan Murphy, I promised you another crazy cat lady today, a double header, if you will.
Here's the thing. I don't want impeachment. I don't
Wow, that's crazy cat lady who I don't think likes guys, saying that conservatives, MAGA supporters should be hung upside down and gutted like a deer. Yeah, I know. This is the kind of madness that has affected the Democrat Party. And crazy, I mean, honestly, this is mania. This is social contagion. I've been talking about this for years. I said, these are the same women who fall in love with death row inmates. That's what we're witnessing here. It is something that has happened for centuries. It was the Salem witch trials. There were a bunch of teenage girls who decided there were people who were witches, and they all said they were, and everybody believed them. They whipped into a frenzy, and they burned people at the stake. And it went on in the Manson family, same damn thing. Every one of them women. And then you get the same group of Karens and these nutbags who are threatening to kill Donald Trump. You got nurses saying they will kill ICE agents. I mean, it's nuts. It is nuts. They love Luigi Mangione. I mean, I can go on and on. This is a madness. This is something that has been groomed for years. They convince people that standing 6 feet away from someone would save their lives, but 5 feet away would kill you with COVID. They convinced you that wearing a paper mask would save you from the deadliest virus in the world. And I always said that wearing a mask to prevent COVID is like wearing a cowboy hat to go scuba diving. Provides as much protection. They believe that little boys can become little girls. They believe little girls should have hysterectomies at age 10, have their breasts removed, and form a phallus from the flesh on their arm that dangles between their legs like an ear waiting for transplant. This is the left. This is the left. Boy, I've given Morgan Murphy a hell of an intro, haven't I? How are you, buddy?
I am so well. Man, listening to her makes me think we have a 400-year backlog of witches to be burned. That is awful.
Dude, and it's gotten today, I'm all over. I guess maybe I'm on the Karen feed, or is that just every social media right now is populated with insane white liberal women?
We've just, as they say, awfuls, and the awfuls have taken over, and there is a plague of it in our society where we have beaten down men for the past 30 years. We've been told as men that we're toxic, that our masculinity is something to be ashamed of. Yeah, there was a story here in my home state of Alabama about a year ago where a young woman in my community, Mountain Brook, Alabama, was bitten by a shark. Yeah. And you may have heard that story. It was a horrible story. She was down on the Gulf Coast, and a shark got to her. But what wasn't told was the anonymous man on that beach along the Gulf Coast who ran in.
Okay, I think we've lost Morgan Murphy. Are you there, buddy?
I'm here.
Sorry about that. Continue your story. You got cut off there briefly. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, what we haven't heard is the story of the girl here in Alabama that was attacked by a shark about a year ago. Yeah. But we know that part of the story, but we often don't hear this part of the story where a man on the beach saw that happening, ran into the surf, and attacked the shark to save the girl. Yep. That's the kind of masculinity that we need in our society. Yep. That's the kind of action that generally only men take. 90% of workplace deaths are men. Men take up the dangerous jobs. Yep. And so I think we should celebrate what makes our genders unique.
100%.
Each gender has things to celebrate about it, but we have spent 30 years denigrating men.
Yeah, 100%. I'm single now, by the way, and so I was out this weekend on a Friday, and I met a bunch of these beautiful, and they just happened to be black women. They were out celebrating Black History Month, oddly enough, and we were joking around about it, and they were marvelous. And I was talking to them, and I noticed it was Valentine's Day, and this restaurant, I'll bet 60% of the people in the restaurant were single women together with their friends because they have no man in their lives. And I asked them, I said, what is the deal with men? They go, oh, they've been emasculated. She said, this woman, she says, I could change my own tire, I could change my own oil, but I can't find a guy who knows how to use a screwdriver or a hammer. And I'm like, that's exactly what you're saying there, Morgan. We've had a war on masculinity, and then we've convinced women they should be ashamed of their femininity, and I think this is turning around. I think with Gen Z, it's starting to turn around. There are Gen Z girls. They're starting to want to have families more. So I think we've pulled back in the nick of time. But I think that's number one on our list. You've got to be proud of your masculinity as a masculine person, proud of your femininity as a woman, and then if you want to be a feminine man, I don't give a crap. But honestly, you shouldn't be the focus of the attention. Go ahead.
Well, I've got a little boy. He's 11 years old, and I try to teach him those basic life skills that men need to have. Yep. Open a door for a lady. When your grandmother stands up at the dinner table, you stand up.
Yes, sir.
Make sure that you know how to change the oil in a car.
Yep.
That you know how a gun works. And
Yep.
these are skills that I believe men need to know.
Yep.
And should know.
Yep.
And it's something that my grandfather would have thought was kind of not interesting at all. Why are
It's
you
obvious.
it would just be a matter of course for the greatest generation to teach that to their children. But somewhere in the past 50 years, we've lost that thread.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Women are nurturing by nature because they're mothers. Men are masculine. They're hunters. They do the gathering and all that. I was at the gym the other night. There was a girl there, and she was benching, one plate, which is 135 pounds, and she had a guy there spotting her. And she's like the strongest, most fit girl in the gym. And she's got somebody spotting her. I just turned 60. I do one plate 20 times, then I add 25 and do 15 times. Then I add another plate and do that 15 times. And I'm 60, for God's sake. So I think we're done with this nonsense about men can become women and women can become men, and somehow I think we've been fed a line, and a lot of people have fallen for it, and the ones who didn't were silenced. And I think those days are past us, Morgan Murphy.
I pray they're past us. When I look at Minnesota, I think, well, maybe not. It was Minnesota, after all, that kicked off the riots over George Floyd in 2020. I couldn't bury my own father that year. Yep. We could not have a funeral for him because of COVID. And yet George Floyd just died 3 weeks after my father passed away. Wow. George Floyd was allowed to have a funeral with 6,000 people in attendance. Yeah. And that's when I thought, this is not how America is supposed to work. My Eagle Scout dad, a great man, was buried anonymously without any mourners to pass him into the great hereafter. And yet George Floyd is allowed to have a giant funeral attended by 6,000 people, including past presidents.
Yeah.
But that all kicked off in Minnesota.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, there are a lot of farmers, a lot of very hard-working people in Minnesota who live outside of the Twin Cities who are done with this crap. Morgan Murphy, hold on. I want to talk about not only voter ID, that rigmarole, the government shutdown, possibly get into Iran. Can you stick around?
Let's do it.
All right, brother. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text RULE to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text RULE to 215-215. That's RULE to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become...
I got audio.
It's not. It actually, there's an argument to be made that red state voters, women, poor white voters could be just as.
I know you think they're dumb too, don't you?
Yeah,
I mean that's the thing. I hear these arguments. I've heard Democrats all week long.
No,
What?
No.
You know, so this is the CNN strayed into really super stupid on the voter ID thing. They started off with black people are too dumb to get ID, and then some other white Karen said, "Oh yeah, it's because they also don't actually have access to smartphones," and then also said a lot of them have criminal records. Okay, as racist as it possibly gets. Then you strayed into women might have changed their names so they can't get an ID, which means that women can't exist without men. Wow, way to step into that one. And now they're saying poor white people in red states can't get IDs. I hate to tell you this, good share of my family are poor white people in red states, and they are willing to throw anyone under the bus. They say 20 million people in our country do not have a form of ID. You need a form of ID to do 100 things. And if this were real, they'd be saying, we've got to get these people IDs so they can survive. Here's the thing, and I'm going to present this to Morgan Murphy. Morgan Murphy, I present to you the 20 million people who do not have a form of identification, do not exist. What do you think?
If you can't figure out how to get an ID, I really don't want you voting in this country to determine the future of the American Republic as a people. Getting an ID is one of the simplest things a human being can possibly do here in this country. We're blessed with multiple ways to get IDs, and it just is an easy thing. What disenfranchises blacks, disenfranchises poor whites, disenfranchises every legal citizen is a non-citizen voting in our elections. That takes away my voice, that diminishes your voice, that diminishes every rightful American citizen's voice, and we should all be outraged. And in fact, most of us are outraged at the idea of illegals voting in our elections. 83% of Americans believe that it is right and proper to show an ID to vote. It's an 83-17 issue. And I just don't, if we cannot pass this through the Senate just needs to pack up and go home. They're useless.
Well, Morgan, you know, the thing is, there might be 20 million people without an ID, and those people are illegals. That's it. They're the ones they're the only people in the country who are undocumented. Do you understand? They're the only people who are undocumented, and Democrats are willing to throw black people and poor white people and women under the bus to make some sort of point so they can keep illegals voting. That's it. It's that simple.
You're absolutely right. I mean, Democrats at one time were against illegals entering our country until they figured out it was a vote getter and they could tilt the Electoral College in their favor in blue states by pumping the country full of illegals. And that is what Biden did. It was no accident that 20 million people came flooding into the country. It was no accident that Mayorkas said everything is fine, look the other way.
Of course.
It was deliberate.
Yeah. You know why we know that? Because it happened all over the stinking world. The same modus operandi, the COVID lockdowns, the opening of the borders around the world. It was a massive Marxist plan to change the makeup of the world, and they failed. They tried to put Donald Trump in jail, take him off the ballot, and then murder him. It didn't work, and now we've got freedom kind of spreading around the world, which is a fantastic thing. What do you think, real quick, about Iran? We've got a couple of aircraft carriers over there. The Irans are still mouthy as hell. They just ended some talks. I'm hoping they give them a little nudge. I hope that they give us a little nudge, and we take these the Ayatollah out of power, because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. What are your thoughts, man?
I've been waiting 45 years to light them up.
I know.
And I think this is the time. I mean, Iran has been threatening the United States, threatening our way of life, bombing shipping, using proxies across the Middle East against us. When I was in Afghanistan fighting We lost a lot of Americans, a lot of great Americans, because of Iranian proxies, Iranian bombs, Iranian IEDs. So I have no love lost for the Iranian regime, the Ayatollah. The Iranian people I don't have a problem with. I think most Americans don't.
No.
But, you know, if they're going to keep pushing President Trump, if they're going to keep fooling around, Iran's going to find out.
I think the trigger's already been pulled, to be quite honest. I do. There's no way that the Ayatollah can stay in power after killing so many people, after behaving the fashion they are. They're not willing to commit to any sort of a nuclear deal, whatever. So I think the trigger's already been pulled. I think they're just waiting for strategic forces and agreements to get into place. So the Ayatollah gets a little colorectal, exam. That's what I'm hoping, brother.
Tomorrow's forecast in Tehran is about 1,000 degrees.
Yeah, baby. I hope so.
We sent 2 aircraft carriers. You know, that's the last time we sent 2 aircraft carriers into one theater of operation. It was to get the Chinese to back off of Taiwan during the Clinton administration. So to have both the USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group and the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, that combined firepower of those 2 modern aircraft carriers is greater than most of Europe combined.
I think they'll make short shrift of the Iranian military, and I hope it happens soon. Morgan Murphy, always a pleasure to have you on, brother. Where can people find you on
great to be with you.
Absolutely. Where can people find you on the social media?
Come to see me on anywhere, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's all Morgan W.W. Murphy.
All right, brother. Take care of yourself at Bama, okay? Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Let's talk to my streamers. Sorry about the stream today, guys. I don't know what the deal is, but we're here. We're here. Hello, Darnell, 689. Haven't seen you there. Good to see you. You're new. Gladys Kravitz. Hello, Gladys Kravitz Jr. Good to see you there. RWoo Q8 and DN, whatever that is. Good to see you. We got some new people on here. I love this. I mean, I love you other guys. You know, you guys have been here forever, but dang. Look at all the people watching. On the YouTubeage, how about the Rumbly Roo? My Dookie Bear, my Scarecrow, my Valentino, my Astro Turtle, all you guys, my Deborah D, 1955. How's things? I got to get something up here on my computer real quick. Hold on 1 second. I got a few balls in the air, people. It happens. Kind of like Democrat, but never mind. I'll move on. All right. I was going to make a transgender joke there, but I'm not going to. Too late. It can't be saved. Let it go. Let it go. Hope you're enjoying the show. A lot of people watching on X. Hello, Paul Richards. What up? Dookie Bear went over to Twitter for a few minutes. We got to get the live chat going on Twitter. Catching up with you guys on all the other platforms. You guys are doing a great job. Doing a great job. What are we going to talk about here? Hold on. Oh, I like this. Oh, I like this. I like this. Here we go. All right. It's time for me to talk. Here we go. Here we go. Give me 1 second. I got visitors coming today. 3:50? Okay. Here we go. Something that I have dreamed about for my entire life, adult life, is maybe coming true. We still have a long way to go. And that is another generation of young black children raised in hell. And I'm hoping things are beginning to turn around. I've been following this in my entire adult life since 1989 when I graduated out of college, seeing young black men murdering one another at 10 times the national average, abortion, crime, all of this. And for the first time, some of America's inner cities are becoming livable. It's something I've waited for a very long time. I've got a man in Memphis, a father, sharing his experience of how things have changed since Donald Trump sent in federal forces to clean it up. I'm doing a Gettysburg battlefield tour June 11th in coming out of Baltimore, driving to Gettysburg. If you're in the area out here, you want to get on the bus, go to WCBM.com. WCBM is our anchor station. And we're doing this delightful tour, starting in the morning, driving to Gettysburg, spending the day there, going through the battlefields, going to where Abe Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address, going a little round top, a big round top, having lunch, and then driving the luxury coach back to Baltimore in one day. We're getting close to selling out the first coach. We may have to do another one. So go to WCBM.com, WCBM.com if you would like to get on the bus with us. Here is a wonderful, wonderful video going viral of a dad in Memphis thanking Donald Trump. The first time in decades, some inner city American neighborhoods like in D.C. are safe enough for kids to ride their bikes.
All I want to say is, Trump, you're doing your big thing, man. We got the kids back outside on their bikes.
I know.
The lawnmowers back going, the dogs back barking. Memphis is looking real good out here, man. Hey, man, you did your big one, man. Appreciate you for helping cleaning up Memphis. Hey, MPD, well, I don't even know what to say about y'all. I done walked to the store. Y'all got me a bag of ice.
What?
I ain't walked to the store in about 20 years.
I know.
You ain't got to worry about no pow, pow, pow. You ain't got to worry about no ducking.
I know.
You ain't got to worry about them fins doing all that. All that old. Man, it's beautiful. I'm talking about the traffic back going.
Come on now.
I'm talking about the kids back outside. Make Memphis great again,
Come
goddammit.
on.
Hey, it's a good thing, man. I love when the plan come together. Hey, Tag Force, keep doing what you're doing. Hey, Trump, y'all keep doing what you're doing. National Guard, y'all keep doing what you're doing. Hey.
Yeah, and who's standing in the schoolhouse doors? J.B. Pritzker. You're here. Yeah. Yeah, they're still standing in the schoolhouse doors. Democrats are still standing in the schoolhouse doors, trying to keep law and order from coming to Chicago and the Democrat-run cities that are hell on earth, trying to prevent that from happening. Murder rate at an all-time low since the year 1900. And all the Democrats can do is be word and whine about Donald Trump and act like everything is terrible. Ain't going to work. I told you it's not going to work. And I have waited my entire life, adult life, to see this start to happen, because things went to hell for the inner city community with Lyndon Johnson's Great Society. And after so many generations of kids, maybe we're beginning to see the light. We got a long way to go, don't get me wrong. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
Now,
you are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, the only conservative talk show in America that not only entertains, informs, but motivates people. Motivates people. You know, opinions are easy. Opinions are like, that. Everybody's got one, but, the last thing I think talk radio needs is another one of those on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Rush Limbaugh passed away on this day. 5 years ago. It's hard to believe. I'm going to tell you, that guy, I have a connection with Rush Limbaugh, and I got out of college in 1989. I was making no money. I was making $18,500 a year, bringing home $487 every 2 weeks. My rent was $400. My car payment was $400. So I decided I could write comedy, and I started writing comedy for some comedy networks. And I heard about this guy named Rush Limbaugh. I'd been in New York for about a year. And so started writing for Rush, and I did Capitol Hill Bank and Capitol Hill Post Office and Geriatric Park. Let me go ahead and pull up one here. Let me see if I can pull up an old bit that I did for Rush. How's that sound? Would that be fun? You think that'd be fun? Let's do one here. Hold on. Let's do, I don't want to do Capitol Hill Bank. I don't think that's going to sound so good. Let's do, actually, I'll do Capitol Hill Bank. This is the first bit I did for Rush Limbaugh. It may sound a little muddy. This is the first bit I did for Rush Limbaugh.
And now, another Capitol Hill Bank moment.
I'm working behind the counter at the bank when in comes another freshman congressman. He puts
That's me.
$500 into his new checking account. Boy, you should have seen the
voice has changed a little.
Look on his face when I told him that $500 in a Capitol Hill checking account is unheard of. Congressmen never keep that kind of money in the bank.
So this kindly teller tells me my $500 is worth $60,000 to $100,000 in check writing.
There's my friend Bruce Jones.
Privileges. Until that moment, I never realized how much I was going to love living in Washington.
Capitol Hill Bank for personal service.
I like to really get involved with my customers. Why, once a congressman called me from this big drinking party he was throwing. Said he needed some more checks. So I went to his party with a box of checks.
Now, this is about 1989. And we found out that the people on Capitol Hill, Congress, had their own bank. And they could withdraw money, take out loans, and never have to pay it back. Yeah. They had a post office, too. I did a thing called Capitol Hill Post Office. Same thing. Have things gotten better? No. They've gotten even more corrupt. Now they're enriching themselves to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars through insider trading and stealing. And just stealing. Yeah, that was 1989 right there, people. Anyway, Rush Limbaugh, was a massive impact on us. I like to say he came along at the right place at the right time with the right skill set, and he changed the world. He changed the world. Here is I don't want to play this here. Let's do Rush's message about Trump.
Our borders are secure. Our families are flourishing. Our values are renewed.
Trump loves this country in ways that many people in politics in the past don't, because their view of what America is a nation among many in the world. President Trump believes in America first. And can you imagine folks being hated and reviled for this? And yet he is. He's hated and reviled for loving America. It's between a man who believes America is good and decent against people who are behind Joe Biden, who think America isn't good. They think America is unjust and immoral from the days of our founding, and they are trying to undermine and transform this country. It's no more complicated than that. Folks, if you love this country, if you love America, the America you think exists, you don't have a choice in this election. Your only choice is President Trump. If you don't support President Trump here, you are going to end up facilitating the transformation of America into a country it was never intended to be. All we want is for all Americans to be free, to have the opportunity this Constitution and country offers everybody. We want a healthy and safe future, and we love it.
100%. That was Rush Limbaugh. And, Donald Trump, he could have easily given up being a candidate. They tried to destroy him. They tried to put him in jail. He went through campaigning while going through trials and being humiliated, being perp walked, having his residency, raided for the first time in history. Then they tried to take him off the ballot. Then they tried to kill him twice. And he raised his hand in the sky and he said, he raised his fist and he said, fight, fight, fight. And the Democrat Party blamed him for that. The Democrat Party, you can honestly kiss my butt. So friggin' done with you, you animalistic, horrid of awful, wretched. This is what Chris Cuomo was talking about earlier, the 80-20. The 20% of Democrats who are just evil. Those who are battling, and they can easily be taken down. But pivoting back to Rush Limbaugh, you don't know what Rush Limbaugh went through. You're thinking, oh, he's just rich, he lived in a mansion and all that. Rush Limbaugh, I followed him from day one when he started, and I watched him be attacked for 30 damned years. I saw people go after his advertisers. I saw people go after when he tried to buy an NFL team. He wanted to buy the St. Louis Rams, and they called him a racist. They called him this and they called him that. And then he was an NFL commentator, and he made a comment about a black quarterback, and they banned him from the NFL. Rush Limbaugh was not a racist, for God's sake. And then on top of it all, in the middle of it, he went deaf. He went deaf. He could not hear a thing. I remember the week that he was on the air after he had gone deaf, and his voice was weird. It was like, and I had friends say, is there somebody in there who's not Rush? And I said, I don't know. And then I found out he went deaf. And what did he do? He got cochlear implants, and he came back to be stronger than he was ever. The world's first, the country's first, deaf talk show host. And not only was a deaf talk show host, he was the greatest talk show host ever. Unbelievable. Look what he overcame while being savaged every single day, and every single day waking up and saying, I'm a joyful warrior. That's Rush Limbaugh. I like to say I walk in his footsteps, but no one will ever fill his shoes. Right time, right place, right skill set, the whole deal, and he changed the world. We owe it to him to continue the fight. The left is not done. They're still, we knocked them out a little bit with Kamala Harris. We exposed their absurdity, the woke nonsense, the transgender nonsense, all of that crap, all of the people tearing down statues, all of the people tearing down America, all of the people kneeling during the national anthem, all of that nonsense, burning down our cities, trying to burn the St. John's Church right across from the White House, on and on and on, defund the police, nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. You think they've been beaten? Hell no. We're in the middle of a war with them. And I've said we're going to overwhelm them with joy and patriotism, but it's also got to be get your ass out and vote. And it's got to be no, no, no to redistricting states and taking away your representation. No, no, no. Shut it down. Shut it down. We're going into our 250th year, and the only way we're going to survive another 250 years is unless we change everything. And we're in the throes of it right now. We are the reaction to the action. The action was evil. We are the reaction. We are the good. We are patriotism. We are faith. And we're sweeping the world. But first, we got to sweep the people who are trying to end our country out of our country. There you go. I felt like I needed to say that. I have a connection with Rush that most people don't. I wanted to fill in on his show, but I had just been a nationally syndicated talk show host for a year when he died. So Premier Radio wouldn't give me a shot. I really wanted to fill in. But they wouldn't let me do it. And then they got another team to take over for Rush. But I think the only person in America on the radio who continues the tradition that he espoused and started is me. Because I'm the guy who brought comedy to Limbaugh. And all those parodies, Shanklin did a lot of them. I did a lot of them. And he used humor to make a point. And he used absurdity to exemplify the absurd and to point out the absurd. And that's what we do here, and that's what makes it so different. And I had a part in that show. And that show lives on with my stamp on it. And it's different than anything else that's out there. And I hope you appreciate it, because I'm going to tell you right now, brother, I am 2-minute warning, fourth quarter of my life, and I ain't slowing down. That's why I built this studio. That's why I'm here. You and I went through hell for the last decade, and I came to Washington, D.C. to drive a stake in the heart of the badness in this city and the corruption in this city, using humor, using making a point, bringing you with me, because you're a part of this. You're a part of this. We did this together. We did this. We're here. You're here. Let's win this. How's that sound? Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Somalis are all on welfare, and the Dems just seem to not care. Ilhan Omar, she needs to go. GTFO, GTFO, GTFO. Many are anti-Semitic. Their statements have been pathetic. They're a threat to all you know. GTFO, GTFO, GTFO. They are always expressing hate of America. Why are they here? Must deport before it's too late. Talk about holiday cheer. Our language, they will not learn it. Own money, refuse to earn it. They are gaming the system so. GTFO, GTFO, GTFO.
Rent-free, in libs' heads I'm living. The fits I am giving to Whoopi, Sunny, and Joy. Rent-free, I'm occupying. Rosie is lying if she says I'm not in her head. Break free, they simply can't do it. When you get down to it, they have TDS real bad. Hatred, just watch it as it spreads, because inside their heads I live.
I have a special gift for you on the 5th anniversary of Rush's passing. I'm going to do that in a second. I think you'll enjoy it. I'll have a story behind it, too. I don't want to heck not. I might as well share. I'm the only, I don't know, I guess, I think closest, other than Bo Snerdley, closest person to, Rush's legacy on the radio. Whatever it's worth. Gold is at $4,890 an ounce. That's down substantially. Gold and Sierra enter high volatility regime, which means that world events are going to change the price of gold. It's going to go up. Gold holds $5,000 floor as consumer delinquencies reach highest levels since 2017. There's a lot of stuff going on out there, people. There's only one commodity on earth, gold, that thrives during uncertainty. And if you want to get the ball rolling on converting an IRA or 401k to gold, then I would suggest you text my name to Birch Gold at 989898. I transferred my IRA. I got a visit tonight with a representative from Birch. They said, "What kind of metal do you want, Rob?" "What kind of metal?" I said, "I want heavy metal, baby. Gold." Thank you very much. I was raised on heavy metal. First album I heard was Led Zeppelin, then Black Sabbath's Paranoid. I was 4. Anyway, so heavy metal, gold is awesome. Also silver kicking butt as well. It's your time to buy because it's down $4,800 an ounce. That's pretty remarkable. So text my name, Rob, to 989898. Rob to 989898 for Birch Gold. Okay, one more thing on Rush, and then we'll move on to other stuff. And I think it's worthy of saying this. So this is 1994-ish. And I'm working with my friend Rusty Humphreys. And he says, "Rob, I want to do a gospel song about the Rush Limbaugh program. And I want you to write me a gospel choir song about Rush Limbaugh." And I said, okay, no experience. So what I did was I imagined a gospel choir, and I wrote a song about Rush Limbaugh, what I knew about Rush Limbaugh's show. And he got together a group. This is actually a black gospel choir. I believe they're in Dallas, Texas, and got him in the studio. And we did that. This is real. This is real. This is one of my I've had a lot of proud moments as a comedy writer. But this one meant a lot because it was something I'd never done before. On the EIB, come on! Here another day on the EIB. Like to tear up Bill and Hillary. Liberal left is nearly dead. Come on down, be a hero head. Talent from God. Thank the Lord. Rush Limbaugh's on. Thank the Lord. Rush Limbaugh's on. Thank the Lord. Rush Limbaugh's on. Thank the Lord, Rush Limbaugh's on the EIB. Thank the Lord, Rush Limbaugh's on the EIB. Big finish, here's the big finish. Silent on Lord from God. I gotta tell you. There you go. That is again, Rusty Humphreys put that together for me. And I thought you might want to hear it. This 5th anniversary of the passing of the great Rush Limbaugh, he will never be forgotten. You know, the greatest thing you can do for somebody to remember him. So there you go. All right. Did you like that? I hope you enjoyed that. I really did. I hope you enjoyed that. All right, let's move on to other stuff. Nick Shirley is out and about. Nick Shirley got 1 billion views exposing corruption in Minnesota that was covered up by Democrat politicians. Billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. And the Democrat Party has this thing going on where they invited 20 million people across the southern border, loaded them up with free crap, and then get them to vote exclusively Democrat. They did this with people from Somalia. They found a group of people because the Hmong in Minnesota wouldn't play along. wrong. Among her hard-working people, Hmong Chinese, and they were like, no, we don't want to just sign our kids up for autism and all this crap. We don't want to open daycare centers. We'll take our kids to daycare. We'll pay for it. But the Somali population had no problem with it because Somalia is a meth lab trailer park on the face of the earth. And so they did it, and then it spread across the country. And the Somalians vote exclusively Democrat and give money exclusively to Democrats. And this has been working all over the country. All over the country. And the Democrats say we don't need voter ID. And the Democrats say that there's no vote theft out there at all. Well, Nick Shirley decided to do kind of what he did in Minnesota and find out where people were being registered to vote.
When it comes to fraud, most people think about money. However, there's another potential massive fraud story taking place in America.
Where's that?
One tied to the most consequential system in our country, which is our voting system. This has to do with everything about who runs the country and how elections are actually controlled.
And
if
ID.
we don't have voter integrity, what even are we?
What happens?
There's one state that is the breeding ground for potential voting fraud, and that is California, where it can take up to 1 month to count all of the votes, no voter ID, and millions of ballots are cast by mail. And voter rolls that are extremely vulnerable to errors, such as over 200 people who are over the age of 125 years old registered to vote in certain areas. And now to see how easy it is to vote, I headed to the location to register to vote inside the state of California.
And found it was very easy. Here he is discovering that a woman registered her dog, and then dead people voting.
A Southern California woman is facing 5 felonies after registering her dog to vote in 2 elections. The dog's vote was even counted in one of those elections. Those behind the stunt say she did it to show the flaws of the current system.
And it worked.
Hundreds of people who cast votes according to state records, but we found they've been dead for years. Including a woman who died in 1988, and records show she somehow voted in 2014, 26 years after she passed away. Then there's Julita Abutin. Records show she voted in Norwalk in 2014, 2012, 2010, and 2008. The only problem is she's buried here at Forest Lawn. Abutin died in 2006.
That's a perfect Democrat then, Here's Nick going out to a storage shed. There's a storage shed. There's a lot of people in the storage shed living there, registered to vote and voting.
The fraud continues. Now we're outside of a extra space, a storage unit location. Here, 5 people are registered to vote.
Correct.
Did they cast their votes?
3 of them did in the 2024 election. Then we had one that cast a ballot in the 2020 election and one that's never voted. The point is that unless this is a primary residence, right, or where you can sleep, right, which no one's supposed to by law allowed to sleep in their public storage unit, then this is not a legal registration. And these are the things that the county continues to let slip through the cracks.
Benny Johnson, there were 70 people registered in one location. It was a porta potty. I'm not kidding. I wish I were.
This building here in downtown San Diego, there's over 16 people who are registered to vote at this address right here. It wouldn't surprise you if inside of this building alone, there's 15 people registered to vote, yet all the windows are boarded up.
One of the business was Duckett's, and I never saw anybody go in or out of there.
15 people are registered to vote, and a lot of them voted in the 2024 election.
What?
Doesn't surprise me. This is California for a reason.
Do you think voter fraud takes place here in California?
100%.
And do you trust Gavin Newsom?
No.
Of course not. Of course not. And I would venture to say, I doubt that he escaped that recall vote. I bet you the people of California wanted his rear end out as a governor, but I bet he rigged that too. Yeah, that's my opinion. I can say that now. It's not 2020 where I can be censored. Of course there's rampant voter fraud as much as there is welfare fraud in Democrat states around the country, and it's got to end. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey guys, it's Carson for Shopify. You know, for years I have had a swag line of t-shirts with catchy phrases and whatnot, and it's just been lying there. Well, I've decided to go with Shopify and actually make money with my own business. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap, from household names to first-time business owners just getting started. Choose from hundreds of beautiful templates you can customize to match your brand instead of just having a lousy website that nobody notices like I have been doing for years. Set up fast with Shopify's built-in AI tools that write product descriptions and headlines, create email and social campaigns that reach customers wherever they scroll. In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Newsmax. Go to shopify.com/Newsmax. Make building a successful business your 2026 New Year's resolution.
When you're a man who calls himself a girl, it can be a bonus. When you compete with women, you have to hide. Ooh, that pair of cojones. I can cycle against the girls, that's my choice. I can steal their medals with this manly voice, 'cause the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel like a transgender woman. When I compete with females, I'm the one that's feared, 'cause I'm the only person in the race with a beard. But somehow I feel the left makes me feel, they make me feel like a transgender woman. Woman.
Hello, my name is Brian Delatry, and I started taking Relief Factor just about a year ago. I was having chronic knee pain. Over time, it just got worse and worse. Just walking downstairs was painful. Well, since I've taken Relief Factor, the results have been just amazing. I actually walk 4 miles a day, 5 to 6 days a week. No pain at all going downstairs. Very active playing golf, and it's been really just unbelievable in the change I've had in the pain in my knee. Hope that someone who's experienced the same type of pain gives Relief Factor a try. And I guarantee if you get the results that I have, you'll be very happy. I'm going to continue using the product because I am now pain-free.
Don't wait. If you're dealing with daily pain, launch your 3-week quick start and see what Relief Factor can do for you. Go to ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain?
Recently in Moscow, and expectations are very high for a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine, of course, with the backing of the United States. Now, the Russians have extended the olive branch to the United States and have their demands regarding the conflict with Ukraine so that it doesn't continue to be this festering, long, protracted conflict on the European continent, which has a potential to suck in American military men and women in uniform in a conflict down the line. So what Zelensky is really trying to do here is he's trying to renege on the agreement that the Trump administration has signed regarding the minerals in the western portion of Ukraine. He's basically saying, that was a good agreement, but of course we're not ready to implement the agreement unless we have these security guarantees. Now, we can't forget that Ukraine is not a member of NATO. It's not an EU member.
That is George Papadopoulos talking to Steve Bannon about possibility of peace in Ukraine. He went on to say that had Kamala Harris been able to become the president, that we would probably have troops on the ground in Ukraine. And I don't doubt that at all. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer joins us, ProjectSentinel.com. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you on this glorious Tuesday?
Hey, Rob, always great to join. I'm doing well.
What do you think about that, man? What's going on with Ukraine? Have you heard anything?
So, I think that it's very clear that George reflects what President Trump wants. Another one is kind of a practical end to the war.
Yeah.
And for people who have made agreements, both sides, Russia and Ukraine, to abide by what they've agreed upon regarding framework. What is it right now, obviously, is a continued war and potential expansion. I agree. If the Democrats won, we would have probably had NATO involved. With that said, we're not, and we're trying to back out. And we're trying to back out in such a way that there will be an enduring peace that will allow prosperity and, for goodness sake, for Ukraine to recover. Rob, one of the things that people continue to miss, which I think is tragic, is the loss of males as a percentage of the population in Ukraine.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a country that went from basically 30 million, and by the time we're done with this, to 15 million. They will cease to exist as a civilized nation at the current rate they're going, because they simply don't understand there is no military solution. The EU, the Europeans, continue to goad them, say, "Oh yeah, no, you can win, you can win,"
Dear Lord.
and they're simply doing it, the Europeans, because they benefit financially from the war continuing, and that's where Zelensky needs to wise up and stop listening to him.
How much of the aid that we sent them, over $200 billion, do you suppose ended up on the Riviera in boats and luxury cars?
Well, I think you're going to find, and I think there's going to be an audit of this, about 1/4 went to pure corruption, just people doing the things you're talking about there. Another quarter went to enrich EU and the EU nations who have prompted and continued the war. And so at best, maybe half went to the cause of the war. And even that, Rob, 25% of that came back to here's the United
gigantic
States.
Waste. What a
corporations,
what a bloody
and
waste.
Politicians benefited from
What
it.
a bloody waste. What cost?
25% of that. Yeah, it's that nuts.
What cost human life? We want to get to the point where Donald Trump is turning the page on this to some degree. We're not doing this under his watch. Right. He's very deliberate about what he's doing. He's being very, very deliberate, almost so cautious with Iran. I'm kind of come on. Do something about the Ayatollah. But he's not going to get us into another superfluous war. He's not going to put us in 20 years in Afghanistan and then withdraw us, unceremoniously to mark a day and just destroy the legacy, destroy all of the blood and treasure and suffering. I mean, he doesn't want that to happen again. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. So I think President Trump has watched multiple presidents from both political parties fail miserably in nation building. And so I think we can all agree, we who are sane, you don't have to be MAGA to be sane. You have to be someone who understands that there are ways to do things which will not require the United States to invest massive amounts of blood and treasure, especially our youth, into these fruitless, unwinnable wars. By the way, wars which we entered into knowing we didn't want to win. It's insane.
Yeah, I know.
So President Trump, if he sets up an objective, he's going to accomplish an objective without a lot of loss or waste.
Yeah. So we've got another aircraft carrier over in the Middle East. We've got 100 plus C-17s. We got Donald Trump meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu last week. Do you think the trigger's already been pulled? Because the Iranians are still being belligerent. They're saying, you can have a dozen aircraft carriers. We would love to give up. Do you think the trigger's already been pulled and it's just kind of like getting things strategically placed to knock them out?
So I think the Israelis would like to see a completely demilitarized, Iran incapable of conducting any military operations or proxy operations. Absolutely, and I agree with their sentiment. Iran is developing weapons such as a new hypersonic missile that could probably defeat the Iron Dome. So I get it. With that said, Rob, we don't want to see a failed Iran. We saw Libya fail because of us. We saw Syria fail because of us. We saw Iraq fail because of us, because of these, okay, we're going to take military action without a plan to settle it after. Yeah. So we can't just take military action and cause the fall of Iran, because there are potentially weapons of mass destruction that could go loose, and who knows where they're going to go.
But don't you think that's why we're taking so much time, Tony? Don't you think that's why he's being so deliberate?
Exactly. And 92 million people, it's a big country. Yeah. So we want to be deliberate, but you have to walk a fine line. We want to cause the collapse, but we don't want to see the government fall into chaos. And so it's a very fine line.
So the second international conference, this time the Munich Security Conference, follows up on Davos, where the Democrat Party went over and acted like complete children. I think next year they should have it at Chuck E. Cheese and just have the Democrats go there. I mean, how idiotic and how terrible do the Democrats look? And also, what other countries in the world invite governors and opposing party candidates to come over and badmouth the country and its president?
Well, that was the Europeans. They set this up to have the confrontation, which they did. So it's fine. They did it. Yeah. But, I mean, to your point, Ocasio-Cortez showed that she has the intelligence of styrofoam. I mean, really, just like nuts. And then Oompa Loompa Governor Whitmer goes over there and shows to be equally kind of like, can I use the word dense?
Oh, yeah.
And then Governor Newsom, who basically, I think he was great in American Psycho, by the way. That was a landmark movie. He did a great job. Anyway, he goes over there and calls ICE Nazis in Germany.
Yeah. I know.
Do you understand where you're standing?
He called the National Guard. Dude, he called the National Guard Nazis, bro.
Yeah.
He called he called our soldiers Nazis. What a bastard. I mean, honestly.
So it's not a good reflection on that. But by the way, Rubio did a masterful job. Yes. I just re-listened to his speech in preparation for our interview. And he was like a coach going into the locker room during halftime and telling the team, you need to do better, and we're going to lead you. And that's exactly how that speech sounded. It was brilliant.
Could we continue the conversation on the other side of the break? I want to ask you if what Rubio said and Donald Trump, what he's doing, is really resonating with the Europeans. It did in Davos. I want to see what do you suppose is going to come out of this latest conference. Let's take a break and come back. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, ProjectSentinel.com. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. in WCVM.
Our first colonies were built by English settlers, to whom we owe not just the language we speak, but the whole of our political and legal system. Our frontiers were shaped by Scots-Irish. They gave us Davy Crockett and Mark Twain and Teddy Roosevelt and Neil Armstrong. Our great Midwestern heartland was built by German farmers and craftsmen.
Oh, yeah.
Who transformed empty plains into a global agricultural powerhouse.
That's actually my family history. I found out my biological family, they lived all in southwest Iowa. They're all Germans, the Getz, and they came here after the turn of the 20th century. So they never owned slaves there, Tony Shaver, but they tilled the soil and fed the nation. And I thought that was a really great way to tie in our connection to Europe and England. I thought that was absolutely a masterclass.
Yeah, and speaking of Spain, for example, my family, my great-grandparents came over on the Lusitania from Spain.
Wow.
In 1910. And they went to the middle of Kansas to a copper smelter.
Wow.
And worked in some of the most harsh conditions to become American. So
that is crazy.
You know, yeah, it is. So I'm saying, and like he said, we all came from different places. Our families did, and yet we're here as Americans. And oh, by the way, Christopher Columbus did actually bring horses over. Just saying.
Yeah, I know. My God.
So this was an amazing reminder of how Europe provided the DNA for our greatness. Think about that.
Yeah,
and it laid it all out.
And it took us, and I played a bit from Rush Limbaugh a little while ago because 5 years ago he passed away. And he said it was that the reason why we were able to do this is because we said that our rights came from God, and we said that we had the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And look what changed. Look what happened. Paris and London had been around for 1,500 years. They were still crapping in the street when Ben Franklin hung a key on a kite string and discovered electricity.
So, and that's the thing. So Western civilization has been, I think, the greatest force of good on the planet. So is the United States. So when I hear this anti-American rhetoric from the American left, like AOC and others, they basically undermine their credibility by the fact that they ignore the results of this. Yeah. Are we perfect? No.
Yeah.
There is always issues that come with progress, some imperfections. But for the most part, I think the way Marco Rubio laid it out, talked about the fact that we need to get back on task and make the world move forward in a positive way. And this whole idea of mass migration, importing hate, discontent, and death is not a good idea. And I think he made that point, and I'd like to believe the Europeans will follow our lead.
Now, on the other side of the equation is AOC, who wouldn't place in a Class B Model United Nations junior high meet. Here
Would
she is.
And should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a...
Okay, honestly, wow. But, there are some people who are so friggin' stupid. Like, there was this idiot panelist, and she's, like, cute and chuckly, and she goes, "Are you going to impose a billionaire's tax?" And the crowd, like in the crowd from the Hunger Games, all clap their little hands and all of that. But, we live in a cruel world, Tony. You know more this than anybody. And that kind of person cannot be in charge of our country.
No, and that's the frightening thing is that we have a system that's open to allow anybody to kind of rise to the top. With that said, this indicates that she's not competent or able to do it. I mean, let's be clear here. I went to Model United Nations, Robin,
I know, me too.
1978 in the Hague, and as a high school student, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
And by the way, we could drink a lot of beer back in those days too. So anyway, back to the story. We literally, I had to play Angola.
Wow.
And we had to get into character and understand things, and you learned things. And so even high schoolers literally are smarter than AOC on basic issues of geography and national security.
Well,
And so remember, she's being prompted. She had a script that apparently she didn't study, given to her by the deep state. The deep state's behind all of this. I hate to sound paranoid, but it's true.
No.
And so they were trying to put her up as one of the potential leads. I don't know if it's going to be Gavin or her, but they're trying to posture one of them to be the next president of and so it failed. And I hope people don't forget how badly this failed.
Well, you know, when she
made her party look on the global stage.
When she was a bartender, the only drinks she could make were things that were spelled out, like gin and tonic and Jack and Coke, because she couldn't do the complicated stuff. Honestly, it is embarrassing. We are adults. We've allowed our society to become infantilized. Thank God we got Donald Trump in office. Thank God we got a defense secretary who says you're not going to wear a skirt and be a man. We have a lot of serious issues in our country, and I think they really expose themselves as just a bunch of children on the international stage, and I think it bodes well for us. I think we're all getting tired of these children in charge, these adult children in charge who don't know what the hell they're doing. New York City's around Mondami. It's like Lord of the Rings meets or Lord of the Flies meets Animal Farm, and I think we're getting close to being done with it.
That, Rob, before we go, I think I have an idea to help solve the UN problem and the Mondami problem.
What's that?
Let Mondami have the UN and bring in all the homeless, put them in the UN, and then have the homeless make really cool restaurants out of all the different nations. I think it's a win-win. It's like a Reese's Cup moment.
Yeah.
It's a Reese's Cup moment.
See what they can make with SNAP benefits. All right, Tony Shaver. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Obviously, ProjectSentinel.com. Anywhere else people can find your glorious work?
Yeah, just T-Spooky on X. Follow me there. Thanks,
all right,
Rob.
brother. We'll talk soon. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All righty. Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good time. I'm having a good time. Hello, America, Marcy. Duckman. Darnell, 689. What up, Darnell? How you doing? We got a Gladys Kravitz. Hello. I talked to you earlier. My dad, a retired Navy veteran, listened to Rush every day in his garage working on stripping and breaking down scrap metal. That's Darnell. Yeah, man. I listen to Rush every day. I listen to him every day. I wanted to hear his take on stuff. I wanted to hear his take on stuff. You know what I'm talking about. And a lot of people do that here, too. They do. I think a lot of people do. And I try to, every day, come in and educate myself on everything that I can. You can't be an expert on everything. So I bring in experts like Tony Schaefer, But anyway, it's an interesting job. I've got an interesting job, I got to be a little bit of an expert on everything and then also entertain people. I don't mind it. I love it. What do we talk about here? Response to it, Kelly Hart, get rid of him, Andy Harris, Kevin O'Leary, no, Mick Shirley, already did that. MIT, hockey, oh. Yeah. Hold on. Pardon me. I got to get ready. There we go. All right, hold on. Do a couple stories here real quick before the end of the show. Today I'm having people come and visit the studio. Got my workout out of the way yesterday. Lost a few pounds, still working on it. Got a ways to go. Here we go.
Minutes here.
It is the Rob Carson Show. I was going to cover the transgender father, Robert Dorgan, murdered several people, gunned down several family members. Complete nut, Robert Dorgan, 56, shot 4 family members at a family friend before he turned the gun on himself following the deadly rampage at the Pawtucket Ice Rink. When are we going to acknowledge that men who dress up like women and try to be women are mentally ill? Mentally ill. And this guy was broadcasting it all over the web. And it is a damned shame that people had to die. He bizarrely claimed that his in-law threatened to have him murdered by the Asian street gang if he did not move out of his residence. The ex-wife divorced him in 2020 on grounds of gender reassignment surgery, narcissistic personality disorder. According to a court filing obtained by the local outlet, the reasoning was later replaced with irreconcilable differences. All of it. He was nutbag. He was completely out of his friggin' mind. Because if you think you can become a woman as a man, you spend your entire life as a man. Sorry. But, the left tried to convince you, no, it's perfectly fine. It's, you should be tolerant. LGBTQIA+, you see. All of that nonsense. Oh, by the way, I go to Whole Foods. I know you're thinking, oh, Whole Foods, look at Rob, you're such a snob. No, I never shopped at Whole Foods before. But there's a Whole Foods near my house, and in the morning, they cut the price in half of like a lot of the deli stuff and the fruit. They cut the price in half, so I get yellow stickers like I do at Walmart. So I never buy whole price at Whole Foods. So I go over to Whole Foods, right? And I go to Whole Foods, and there, you got to enter each one 50% off, 50% off. It's a total pain in the butt. But I buy stuff half price there. And then they got the homeless shelter comes by, and they load up trailers full of food when it's expired. They do a pretty good job. Whole Foods scraps a dystopian payment method after fury from customers. There was a thing where you could actually use your palm. You could use your palm to pay. It's called Palm Pay, like, the city in Italy that was buried by Mount Vesuvius, except for that's Pompeii and Herculaneum. 500 grocery stores across the country, they were doing this thing called Palm Pay. Customers expressed fury on Reddit, said, declaring, bleep no, not giving Big Brother my biometrics, as they expressed fear over the company having their data. Why did they ever think this was a good idea? They asked me, are you going to use Palm Pay? I said, no, I'm going to use Card Pay. Okay, Card Pay or Phone Pay. Phone Pay is bad enough. Palm Pay? Why don't you just, scan my retinas, for God's sake? Are you out of your mind? I'm just buying half-price fruit that's about to go bad. You think I'm going to let you have my biometric data so I can have a salad that's starting to turn a little bit? Are you nuts? No. Palm Pay. What the what? We are entering a brave new era. It is a weird era. You and I, Gen Xers, we're going to be taken care of by robots in our old age. I'm not screwing around. It's happening. Elon Musk is going to do it. You're going to have a robot in your house, and it's going to be cool because your kids never call and won't come and visit you. It's all right. You can hang out with Hal. Just hope Hal doesn't lock you out of the house. That'll be the only thing that's bad, if Hal locks you out of the house. All right, guys, that's going to do it today. Thank you for watching me. Make sure to check out the podcast. Go to all of your usual podcast platforms. Look up Rob Carson Show. The tribute to Rush was big today. I think you'll enjoy that. God bless you, America's founder, what Donald Trump is doing to make America better than ever in our 250th year. And until tomorrow, which is Wednesday, don't catch this stupid. I love you guys.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.